Hello, and welcome to our second training session on Blackboard Ultra courses. My name is Kate Thompson, and I am the LMS coordinator here at Concordia University. Today, we will introduce you to the Ultra Gradebook. You'll learn about its layout, how to prepare it before and after building your course activities, as well as how to grade and provide feedback for students. Let's get started. Before we dive in, let's go over a quick refresher of Ultra courses. There are two possible experiences for Blackboard Learn courses, Original and Ultra. The Ultra experience is the term for the new user interface that is more personalized, proactive, and intuitive for both students and educators. The Original experience is the traditional Learn experience. In December 2019, CSP upgraded the navigation you see outside of your courses to Ultra. Now we are in the process of upgrading courses to the Ultra experience. Now that we've had a quick overview of Ultra courses, just to refresh our minds, let's hop into the Gradebook feature. Remember, to access the Gradebook, we will click on the Gradebook icon from our Course Tools menu, represented by the pencil and paper icon. So when we first open the Gradebook, we are opened into the gradable item list view. And we see that noted by the three horizontal lines icon, helps us know that we're in a list view. And then the purple line here helps us realize that we're in the gradable items list view. So any item that appears in the gradebook is referred to as a gradable item. And what a gradable item is really any content within your course with a grade associated to it. So this can be assignments, journals, tests, and discussions, and some LTIs as well. And so as you create gradable items in your course, they are added to the gradebook automatically. Items can also be added to the gradebook manually if you choose. Manually added items are generally activities that take place outside of Blackboard. For example, a book club or a science experiment, things like that. And so as an instructor, you're able to complete quite a few items from the gradebook. You can toggle between your views, again, create those additional graded items, manage your gradable items, as well as grade. So we're going to go ahead and get started just by looking at the different views within our gradebook. So again, when we first open the gradebook, by default, we're going to open into this gradable items list view. And here we can see our gradable items listed out in rows. We can also see if there are any due dates associated with those items, the current status. So we can see here for the week 1 discussion, 2 out of 2 of our students have participated. And as an instructor, we have 2 submissions to grade. Twitter evaluation assignment, 2 out of 2 have submitted, and we have 1 left to grade. You can also post grades here as well. So moving on to our next view is going to be our students list view. To access this, we would click on the students option here. And again, we're noted that we're still in a list view, now under students list view. And so in the student list view, we can search for specific students using the search field, which is a great feature in larger classes. We see our students are listed out. We have their full name, student ID if applicable, their username. Really helpful is here is where you can access their last access to your course, as well as their overall grade. What's also really nice now about this view is that we can check in on students more individually. So if we wanted to take a peek at Comet Bear a little bit closer, we can go ahead and click on Comet Bear. And we're going to see just Comet Bear's grades within our course. So we can see, looks like his current grade's an A, he's doing okay. It actually looks like he has 2 submissions here that need attention from the instructor that needs grading. So this is just a quick way to check in with a specific student and get a little bit more granular into how they're doing in your course. You can even choose to send them a message directly from here if you have any concerns. If you want to exit out of that, then you would click on the X in the top left corner, and that's going to bring you back into your student list view. So now moving on then to our next view, and our third and final view is our grid view. And the way we access our grid view is to click on this grid icon next to our list. So we'll go ahead and click there. You see we're moved into our third view, the grid view. And this view is going to give you the most detail. And it's also the most similar to our traditional original view. We have our students listed out by row, and then our gradable items listed out by column. One thing that's really helpful in this list or this grid view is you can see the total points associated with each of those items. Especially a really great way to make sure that your total column is up to date. Maybe my total column is actually supposed to be 300 points, so it looks like I'm missing 9 points somewhere. So I want to go back and maybe review the rest of my items, things like that. So what's also helpful here is you can see if students' overall grade, if they have new submissions, if you have any actions that you as an instructor need to take, it's going to be pretty obvious from this screen. So now that we've looked at the three different views, there's a couple more features within the gradebook that we're going to take a look at before we get into actual grading. If we return up here to this section of the gradebook, we have a couple more icons listed. Right here, this box with the down arrow is going to actually allow you to download your grade center for offline grading, things like that. And I'll download it in a CSV file, so an Excel spreadsheet generally is what you would download it as. If you do make any changes offline, you want to make sure that you then upload those changes. And to re-upload that file, you would use this box with the up arrow. So you're downloading with the down arrow, uploading with the up arrow. Our third icon here is the gear icon. So that's a settings menu. Anytime you're in Ultra and you see a gear icon, that's going to indicate that you can access a settings menu. So we'll go ahead and open that settings menu simply by, again, clicking on that gear icon. And you're actually going to get a pop out from the right side of your screen with the settings menu. So we can see here in our settings menu, there's a couple different features that we can access. So the first option here is grading schemas. So grade schemas permit instructors to set a defined grade range percentage that is mapped to a letter value. Meaning, 90 to 93% maybe an A minus, whereas 93 and up maybe an A, things like that. So the schema computes the score given to a student and the total points possible to derive that percentage, which then aligns with the grade value. The default grade schema in Ultra is it's just a regular letter grade, but each program or instructor may have a different schema depending on, again, the program or the instructor. You want to make sure that you take a peek at that before your course and make sure that it matches what you have posted in your syllabus. So our next setting here is automatic zeros. So this is a feature exclusive to Ultra, and by default, this is disabled. If you choose to enable it, what this does is Blackboard will automatically assign a 0 to any gradable item which does not contain a student submission once the assigned due date has passed. If a student does submit their work past that due date, instructors can go back and still update that grade as appropriate. It's just an additional way to kind of push your students of, hey, you missed the deadline, you've got a 0. But they can still submit late work, and then it's the instructor's discretion whether they will accept or remove points, however you as the instructor choose. And again, this is disabled by default, an option that you can enable if you choose to. Our next item down is grading categories. So a category is a classification of a gradable item within your gradebook. The categories are important because you may want to use them to, do some weighted grading, things like that. While there are predefined categories, for example, assignment, test, discussion, available in the gradebook, you can also create new categories in your gradebook. And to do that, you would simply click on Add New Category. The next feature within the Gradebook settings menu is course rubrics. So a rubric is a scoring tool that lists different levels of quality and assigns a point value or percentage for each performance criterion. Rubrics give students a detailed evaluation with informative feedback rather than just a score. This allows instructors to also evaluate more consistently, and it helps students to know what their expectations are. You can create rubrics here in the gradebook, or you can also create them from your assignments as well. The gradebook allows you to view all course rubrics here in one location. And then our final setting here at the bottom of our menu is overall grade notations. So the overall grade notation is a setting that allows you to create and manage grade notations to override a student's overall grade if their performance falls outside of the defined schema. So say you have a student who got 59.7%, which is a fail, but you really feel like, they may have not done great, but I still want them to pass with a D. You can add that grade notation here using the overall grade notation without actually having to manipulate any of their individual grades. It's going to put a notation to their overall grade. So that's our gradebook settings menu. Now let's move into actually grading and providing our students feedback. So when a student submission is ready for grading, we're in the grid view. You can grade from any of the views that you see though. For today, we're just going to use the grid view though. So in the grid view, you'll see a purple new submission message in the grading zone. And so then you can go ahead and click grade view or grade now, excuse me. What this does will then bring you into the student's submission. Now you'll notice that we see new submission grade now, new submission grade now, but we also see a couple cells here that don't say new submission, but they say grade now. What that's really just allowing you to do as an instructor is maybe, Comet Bear turned in his Respond as Practice exam offline to me. He gave me a physical copy, so I don't have to wait for him to submit it in Blackboard. I can still grade now. But if you are waiting for your students to submit in Blackboard, you would want to wait until you see the purple new submission option. So what we would do, we're ready to grade. We're going to grade this Twitter evaluation assignment for Comet, and we'll click on Grade Now. We're going to get a little menu here with the option to either view or post. We're going to want to view that submission, so we'll click View, and it's going to bring us right into that submission page. And so you can see here that we have, this is Comet Bear's last attempt. It was submitted on the date and time that it was submitted on. We can see our initial instructions to the student on how to submit their assignment. Below here, we do see that actual student submission. And on the right-hand side here is our actual grading pane. So we see here, this first pill at the top is where if you want to just enter a manual grade, you can enter that right there, enter in the point value that you want to assign to the student. Or you can also, if you have a rubric associated with the assignment, go ahead and click on rubric. And that's going to pop out in a right-hand panel for you. And what this does then is it allows you to select your the criteria that you feel best associates to the student's submission. It'll add up those point values for you automatically then. If you, for any reason, don't agree with the total point value at the end, you can still override that. You still have full control as the instructor. If you have Safe Assign enabled, that's the anti-plagiarism tool, the originality report would be available by clicking here on originality report. And then the last option here is feedback. If you want to provide your students any comments, encouragement, things they can improve on, things like that, you can click on the feedback panel. You can either then type your feedback in, or a new option available in Ultra is if you click on the insert content option, which is this little purple plus sign in a circle, you can then select insert edit recording. And what that's going to do is automatically pull up a Blackboard Collaborate screen, which will allow you to record a short video with your student feedback. Once the student receives it, they can then click on the video and receive your feedback. So a really great way to just do a little bit of extra personalization. Sometimes it takes a long time to type out all the comments, so sometimes it might be faster to just record them as well. So once you have all of your grading in place, you go ahead and click Save. And then we can see here we've got a 20.87 out of 25 for comment. Now we're not quite done. A new feature in Ultra here also is posting of grades. So we've assigned Comet a grade, but this grade is not available for Comet's viewing just yet. We still have to post that grade. And so you can either click this post option here right now and release this grade to Comet, or you might want to wait until you've graded all of the Twitter evaluation assignments for this column. And then you can release them all at once by clicking at the top of the column and selecting post all. So you can either post individually or post all at once, but you will need to post the grades in order for students to see those grades. So if you have a student letting you know, I haven't received my grade, I haven't received my grade, and you know that you've graded it, just double check and see that it's posted. So our last slide here for the day then is going to be the student view of the gradebook. It's always good to know how our students are seeing the input that we give them. So again, students access the gradebook the exact same way that you as an instructor do. You can see here we are logged in as Comet Bear, and Comet Bear has clicked on the pencil and paper icon here to access his grades in your course. So we can see that he can see all of the gradable items, if there were any due dates associated, their current status, and his grade. So we can see also here if there is a little grid icon noted within that grading pill, that means that a rubric was used to grade that assignment. Comet can click on that icon and see the criteria that he did or did not meet. Additionally, if there was any feedback, there would be a purple conversation bubble here that Comet could then open to view that feedback. You'll probably also notice that the grades are color coded. The closer that you are to 100%, the brighter of a green you'll see. The closer that you get to 0%, the brighter red. So it's going to go red is bad, green is good, yellow is in the middle. And so that is really what our students are seeing. So that concludes our slides for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope if you have any questions, you feel free to reach out to lms@csp.edu. Thank you, everyone.